Okay, so I've got my bands glued in. I've got the reinforcement over it. I put my book block back in, mainly to remeasure the tightness, make sure there's no extra pull or anything, but also to show you, when you first put it in, you can barely see the raised bands. I like mine to stand out a little bit more, so I took the Easy Carve, and following the directions on it, which is, let's see, shake well, mix with water, 1 part Easy Carve to 10 parts water, apply with damp sponge to grain side of leather. Yeah, do not use on suede. So if you're making a suede book cover, don't use this. Okay, now here's my mixture. I use this for the dies, so that, you know, here's the other one I use. You can see they even though I try and keep them clean with working with dies, things get dyed. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll put this on its side like this. Like I said, you can barely see them. Okay, and then using just a little bit of my mixture, I usually just use my finger. I put it on the bands. Sorry. I put it on the bands so the bands are nice and wet. Then using my banding tool, I'll crimp. I gotta put the phone down and see what I'm doing. Hold on. There. I crimp right along there. That raises the band a little bit more, makes it a little easier to see. And I'll do that all along here until the bands are set right where I want them. Now, as I said before, I've done this in the past. You take this tool, which is your stylist, and you can press right along both sides and get the same effect. Takes longer because you got to keep going back and forth. The banding tool gives you equal pressure on both sides, which really helps and makes the bands really pop. So if you're going to do this long term and do multiple books, I recommend getting a banding tool. They're a good one's probably about $10–15, I think is what I paid for it. You can go on online. It's a company called Holland. I'll probably include a link to their site. They sell bookbinding tools and equipment, so you can go ahead and use theirs. But yeah, that's all there is really to setting bands. And I did check with some other people that do bookbinding, and I was right. Putting the false bands on there is nothing more than cosmetic. It doesn't do anything. Unlike true raised bands, which actually helps support the book block and stuff like that, because they're actually sewn in. Alright, so let me get this uploaded and I'll move on.